Hello, everybody. Good evening. I hope you've had an amazing Tuesday night. The countdown is on for next Tuesday. I know everybody's out there saying the same thing. Are you ready for Christmas? Well, don't ask me that. Not quite, but close. Very close. I had a teacher that once said, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Have you ever heard of that? I don't know how appropriate or accurate that is. But anyway, we are here on Facebook Live, Tuesday night, 12 days of Gen Hacks, and we're on day 8. We're almost finished up. We're going to wrap up on Saturday night, the 22nd. And then we'll have a holiday, of course, for the 24th for Mama Monday. And from there, I'll just keep you posted on how the Gen Hacks will look and when they'll be. I am so pumped because I've got tons of sweet feedback and fun messages from all of you, and thank you. That's been my Christmas present this year. I didn't even plan on it, and it's been super amazing. Thank you so much. So we'll hop right on, as I say, to the subject at hand for the Gen Hack. And that is, as you've seen when you opened this up this evening, look for the light bulb. Okay? Did you all know that Thomas Edison invented the light bulb? Most of you probably knew that. Regardless of what generation you might be in, you probably knew that about Thomas Edison. He was quite an inventor. He had thousands of patents registered with the United States government, and was quite a successful man. But what you may not know about him is that when he tried to get his schoolwork finished and do what he was supposed to do in school when he was a young man, and I believe this is probably around the elementary age, his instructor informed his mother that he could not learn and that she could not teach him. And he had quite a terrible time trying to get through his school. His mother ended up taking him out of his school situation and saying, you know what? No matter what has happened, no matter what has been said, you can do this. You can learn. And she taught him. And I don't know all the rest of the details of his history or how everything played out from there, but what we do know, of course, is we know the end result, that he was Thomas Edison. Okay? Awesome story. There's so many stories like that, and if you are a mom and dad, regardless of your mode of schooling, you know I'm a homeschooling mom of 13, regardless of how you do what you do for academia, every parent homeschools in some way, shape, or form. They're doing that when they're with their children, right? They're doing that when they're around them, when they're going places with them, when they're taking them, when they're putting them to bed, when they're getting them up, when they're eating meals. That is homeschooling, regardless of where academia is learned. And so what a privilege, what a huge responsibility. I feel like that has been an incredible blessing for me over the years. This is my 17th year of getting to have the privilege of schooling my children wherever you are and whatever you do and however you do it. What a responsibility it is. And if you know the scripture in Deuteronomy that I'm not going to be able to quote right now, but it's in there somewhere, where it basically says, you know what, no matter what you're doing, think about how you want to teach your kids. Think about it when you're lying down, when you're getting up, when you're walking by the way. No matter where you are, you have a moment to teach them something. You have a moment to exemplify something to them. And that being said, the core of the Gen Hack for this evening, and I'll try to stick to my 15-minute time frame. I forgot to take my watch off here and look at it. Keeping Thomas Edison in mind and the light bulb, his amazing invention. I had a light bulb moment, and that's what I want to tell you about tonight and how that may relate to your life. When I was about 20 years old, I was rehearsing piano for a classical piano performance degree about 6 hours a day. I was on the piano for that long, plus rehearsals and playing for soloists and choirs, and it was intense and it was busy, and I loved it, and I was having a ball and working really, really hard. and lots of other things happening in my life. Some God things were happening. School was going well, I was working as well. I think I slept in there somewhere. You know how that goes and the grace you have for the lack of sleep. And I was driving up to the university one day, and I was about to go into a practice room again for that week for the umpteenth time. And I heard a voice. So this isn't about God speaking to us necessarily, but I believe that we can hear God speak to us. And this is what happened to me. This was almost 25 years ago. I'm about to be 46 next month. And I was driving, and I was not necessarily trying to listen for anything necessarily, but all of a sudden, right here, I just heard something. And that something was so clear to this very day. I'm going to repeat it for you. I've repeated the story. If my children are listening, they'll probably tell you the story verbatim. I'm going to get chill bumps just saying it again for that 100th or 200th time. But I heard this voice right here, and it said, Jennifer, this piano thing is good, and I'm going to bless you, but I do want you to keep in mind it's going to die with you. Okay, so for me, what that meant, it may not make sense to you, obviously, but what that meant for me with the amount of work I was putting in on this instrument and the effort I was making and the ambition that I was driven with to accomplish something in that area, it wasn't that that was a bad thing, and I didn't feel like it was a bad thing. It was like I was hearing this God voice inside of me saying, hey, this is a good thing, but there might be something greater than good. And that greater thing may be, you may be able to give this to somebody else. Now, I could have looked at it a few different ways. I was planning on having a studio at some point with lots of students, but my first initial goal was that I wanted to travel internationally, and my teacher was already an international performer. And so he was planning on mentoring me to that end. And, you know, at that time, if you would have asked me, I would have said, I'm not getting married and I'm not having children. So I don't know if I said never, but you know how you're not supposed to say never. Anyway, so for this person, as I heard that voice, what it spoke to me was the piano thing is fine and it's good, and you're not going to be doing anything wrong to continue there. And I think that's something we miss sometimes, that everything has to be, it's an exact right or an exact wrong. Instead of, you know, this might be good, this is good, but there might be a better or a best or a great. And for the frame of mind I had then as a 20-year-old, and I was trying to focus and make sure I was keeping my priorities straight, for me at that moment, what it actually spoke to me was, this is a good thing, but there is something greater. And obviously looking back now, that greater or that better that was a step ahead of the good was that I was going to get to marry this amazing guy, and I was going to get to see these amazing 13 kids. And that, hello, Shanna, and that changed my life forever, guys. My Gen hack for tonight is that God does speak to you, and look for the light bulb means be looking for that moment when that light bulb is going to come on. From that day forward, I have always called that my light bulb moment. I found the emoji for it tonight, which was kind of funny. I didn't know I had one, but that light bulb moment is what we have to have, because when we're seeking that and we're looking for it, it will present itself. But many times when we're not looking, we can pass something right by. Now, what happened following that light bulb moment is I came into my piano instructor who'd been teaching me for a long time, and who was the man who traveled internationally and who obviously loved the piano and everything that related to it. In fact, my mom used to say she felt like he was married to it because it just was his life. And he was a brilliant classical pianist, absolutely tremendous, and had been educated so tremendously, very, very reputable. And that man was somewhat of a father for me and obviously a mentor. And when I explained to him, hey, this is what I think I'm supposed to do. And I was, heart racing when I told him. He used to smoke a pipe when he would listen to me during lessons. And he was smoking that pipe, and he looked at me. He actually came around by the piano bench and he said, you know what, Jen? You've got to follow what's right for you. And his tears in his eyes, and we were very, very good friends, and just, it was one of those moments, another one of those moments you don't ever forget. All that to say, for a really succinct and quick Gen Hack tonight, look for the light bulb moments. They're everywhere. And a lot of times I feel like they happen out of tough moments. They happen outside of confusion or difficulty or struggle. That's when you see those light bulb moments. And I remember saying to Lorenzo last week, we were walking, we love to walk together. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. And I always love it if we can pull it off. And that day I was saying, we've just had a really great day. Everything went great. And what I hate about that, I know that sounds a little bit negative, but what I hate about that is at some point, a tougher day is ahead. And he just laughed. He's a very cup half full, cup very full all the time, positive person. And he just laughed and he said, oh, it's okay. And then, flag and flagpole, his flag, big time. And sure enough, I think that was maybe a week ago, 3 or 4 days ago, maybe 2 days ago, then bam, something tough. Bam, something hard that we had to walk through and pray through, and just little, just gut stuff. And the point is that we don't appreciate anything beautiful if we haven't gone through anything ugly. There's absolutely no possible way. And why God set up our earth time to function that way, maybe we won't really know completely until we get there. But it's like the song says, joy and pain. There must be both. So treasure the joy and embrace the pain. And you can stay on that path. You can look for those light bulb moments. That's when they're there. That's when they're most obvious. So I hope that you enjoyed that quick little story. That's one of my historical moments that I always go back to. And that's the cool thing about a light bulb moment. In fact, they normally become part of your boundary stones, as Proverbs says in chapter 28. They become some of those jewels that you refer to. When you're not sure if you're going the right direction, you go back and go, no, wait, this is what that voice was telling me. This is where I knew what to do. And this connects to what I'm supposed to do next. There's such a treasure. So I hope you go to sleep tonight, or you're on your way to retiring and putting everything away. I hope you're thinking about, what's my light bulb moment? Have I had one lately? And what do I need to be looking for? And I hope that you'll feel confident that you're going to hear it right here. You're gonna know, this is something that I can follow. This is my next step. So I'm so happy you joined me tonight for a quick Gen Hack. Thank you so, so, so much. I have had a ball getting to do this. You all have made my night every single time. And 12 nights, that's almost two weeks, guys. That's kind of a long time. But that was another one of those voice things that I thought, I think this is what I'm supposed to do. So you all made that happen just by joining and hopping on. So I will see you again tomorrow night for day 9 of the Gen Hacks. So we'll be close to finished. I'll see you here, same time, same place, here on Facebook Live. Hope you all have an amazing night. Blessings and love and hugs. Bye-bye.